I wanted to expand on what I said yesterday and how I was being disingenuous. That I think is super important to understand. And where it came from, that's the major aspect of what I'm trying to figure out myself. Obviously, it's my fault. It's no one else's fault. And I can't blame this on anyone. And that's what I want to get back to in order to help anyone and everyone that hears this. So if you haven't seen yesterday's, check out day 12 of 75 Hard yesterday to see what I actually mean about how an old guy saved my life. When I first started painting and I first started messing around with Gunpla, Gundams, I thought I had to force my way. And the same with Naginata. I thought I had to force my way to get to where I needed it to be. I thought that if I was putting 100% in, just like I've previously done, 100%, 100%, 100%, work hard. That's what everybody tells you, right? Just to fucking work hard. Then you'll get to where you need to be. But when you learn a skill and you actually use the skill, if you've seen a master at a craft, a painter, Bob Ross, they always look like they're not even trying. They always look like they're just able to express what they want. Like right now, I wish that I'm able to express myself perfectly just from here, right? But now I have this clouding everything that I'm saying. And it's just getting in our own way that's the issue. But why does this happen? So the story of what I'm talking about with these is I was just slicing, sanding, snipping and over again, hard. And it finally took forever to realize none of that mattered. None of that really mattered of me putting 100 in every time to get that perfect cut, to get that perfect snip, to get that perfect sand, just to make it look perfectly flat. Nothing mattered. In the end result, you build a fucking Gundam. And you may see defects, you may see these scratches, you may see but none of that fucking mattered. To actually get the perfect cut, to actually get the perfect sand, to actually get the perfect snip, it has nothing to do with trying to do that. In fact, like I mentioned with Masters, it's effortless. It's effortless because if you have to try, you will mess it up more. The knife is sharp to the point where you will scratch the surface if you're too rough. The sandpaper will scratch the surface if you are pushing too hard. The snipping tool will cause stress to the plastic if you are trying to snip too hard just to get that perfect, or even too slow. The plastic will stress. In Naginata, when I tried too hard in the beginning, just to get those perfect cuts, just to get the perfect strikes, I was too stiff. Why? Why does this happen? When I was younger, I was hanging out with cousins. I was in Washington. I was just walking with the dog and their family and my parents and my sister, and there was this snake on the road. I didn't see it, but I stepped on it. Just like how it would be in like Metal Gear Solid. It was either under a cardboard box that was flat, or I just straight up didn't see it. I never wanted to step on another snake, another person, or be stepped on by another person or another snake, or see another snake ever again. I got afraid of it. And I think these two mesh really well together. Why? We have to try to push past the fear. We have to try not to do something. What I noticed when I tried to snip, when I tried to cut properly, when I tried to strike properly in Naginata as well, it wasn't really that I was getting better. It was that I was getting more comfortable with my movements. It was that I was getting more used to the person who's actually holding the weapon, who's holding the body, who's moving the body. It had nothing to do with the fact that I was the person that was improving. It was more so that I was getting comfortable with it. And if you think about the fact that a lot of masters are less agile, they're less physically, their stats, if you're to look in the stat department of looking at abilities, masters are probably less athletic than their students. But yet they're able to execute what their students cannot, and without effort. In the same way where in order for me to affect somebody's life, in order for me to put myself forwards, in order for me to be genuine even in front of a camera or in front of a person, why do I have to try? Why do I have to do this? It's because of this one thing that it points back to. And this is what I want to solve, but I first had to understand today. In other words, I'm taking a step from what I saw yesterday. Yesterday was perfect because I was in so much of awe of what I discovered, of what I figured out from that encounter. I couldn't think anymore. And this, of course, is what gets in the way. My mind was the reason that I was clouded from that. All fears, all these things that we think hold us back, all these things that we think that we're controlled by, is really just us getting in our own way. It's us. We are the element in that fear. I am afraid of the snake. The snake doesn't own me. The fear of the snake owns me. But I own that fear. Therefore, that means that I am the one who should be responsible. If I didn't realize that I was the one afraid, if I was the one that didn't do any of the actual action to take past that. I would be stuck in what I was saying yesterday about how I was being controlled by the situation, where everything I did was to push forwards, to just do shit, to look better, to be the better person, to crush other people, to do all these destructive things. I would not be where I am now. I would not think where I am now. I would not feel where I am now. I would not be who I am now. Until I understand that I've made it. I still feel somewhat ingenuine, and that means I have to try to push past that. But understanding that try is the reason why I'm in this scenario, because I don't trust myself to push past it, is the issue itself. Alan Watts said something really profound, and that is, or rather I should say that the way he put it was, when we first have parents, the parents say to their kids, and I'm just of course paraphrasing this because this isn't exactly what he said, but he said that parents generally expect their kids to unconditionally love them. But can a kid really love their parents unconditionally by their own will, being forced by the parent? He called that a double bind, and saying that the parent is asking the kid, in other words, requiring that the kid love the parent unconditionally. Now think about that. Unconditionally, it is the kid's own duty to love on their own. In other words, it is on their own, but the duty causes it to not be on their own. Trying something is the exact same thing as what I'm saying is that. I unconditionally want to give myself out to you guys. But as you're seeing in this speech, I'm having a difficulty in that because I have to try to do that. But the biggest thing I like to mention is that this is where all fears stem from. This is where all paralysis stems from. This is where we all try to do something. But that trying is the reason why we can't do anything. Why was I stiff when I did Naginata in the beginning? Why am I still stiff now? Why am I not able to present the way I want to present myself to you guys? It's because I have to try to do something like this. But that's all it is, right? I just have to take my shirt off. I just have to take my shirt off to explain this is me. But for some reason, it feels like you must say and do something else. And that's the issue that we all have to get past, that I have to get past, because I can't seem to do it without trying to do it. But what I want to make sure that it's emphasized is there's no point in trying. Because as you see that you are trying to do something, you realize that you are in a double bind, as Alan Watts said. You realize that you are the reason that you can't actually execute what you want to execute, which is the standpoint of why do we have to try? Because we're afraid. We're afraid that we can't actually do it. We're afraid that we won't be able to get the outcome that we want. And so we have to try. And because we try, we put ourselves in that loop. So I want to make sure that you guys see that it's probably better to see that you're trying. But forget about that. Try to see that you're trying and try to get past that. I know this is fucking confusing. I'm probably gonna have to record this again, but we don't have to try. We need to see that we're trying, and we need to see that we're really faking it to ourselves because we believe that we can't do it. But honestly, you can do it. If I can get past that and just lift the shirt like I just did, that's it. That's all it is. So I hope this helps in some way, and I'll catch you guys again next time for day 14. This was day 13 of 75 Hard. Thank you so much.